Hi, my name is Diane Goble, and I'm the author of a book called Sitting in the Lotus Blossom. I wrote this back in 1989, but it's still relevant to today. This chapter is called The Wounded Planet. As individuals, we get caught up in ourselves and our personal lives. We don't have any conception of our importance on a broader scale and how we, as individuals, affect the whole. When our personal problems are so overwhelming, we don't get involved with our neighbors, our communities, or our nations, much less other nations or the planet as a whole. We leave those issues to others, and then we wonder why the world is such a mess and the planet is dying. We hold those others responsible and blame them for the problem. But the real fault is those of us who don't get involved unless the problems affect us personally. We are to blame, not in the sense that we should all now be ashamed of ourselves and beat ourselves about the head and neck until bloody, but to blame in the sense that we must now accept responsibility for our ignorance and take responsibility for changing ourselves to correct the situations we created by our apathy. It is our planetary karma that we were given paradise and turned it into a garbage dump. In order to release ourselves and for the human race to survive, we have to compensate for that by bringing paradise back, by becoming involved in the healing of our planet. Scriptural misinterpretations about human life on Earth have given people the false belief that the individual's life is insignificant and our only salvation is to love God and obey the commandments so we can get to heaven. This self-centeredness from the individual to the national level has nearly destroyed the planet. And what do they care, since they only believe the importance of the kingdom of God, which is further misinterpreted as something outside the self? Some people have believed this to the point that they believe nuclear war is an acceptable solution to national conflicts, because they, the believers, will be saved from it all. Since they expect the world to end soon anyway, one way or another, they have no motivation to take care of the planet. This new age of enlightenment comes with a different perspective and a new attitude. The world isn't going to end. It's going to change, and you are responsible for changing it. You begin by getting your heads out of the sand and opening your eyes to the fact that you created this mess. Therefore, you can create something different. Out of the chaos comes order. Out of the destruction comes construction. Out of death comes life. You can change your reality by changing your beliefs. You believe what you perceive to be the truth about how the world works. Science gives you the information. There's a hole in the ozone layer. 2 holes, in fact, 1 at each pole. However it happened, it's changing the climate of the planet. The temperature change is melting and breaking up the polar caps, which is raising the water level, which means low-lying areas are being flooded. This has the potential to change the land mass, meaning more people will have less land to live on. As the warming continues, your farm belts will change. The new growing areas, however, don't have the best soil for farming. Your food supply is in danger. As weather patterns change, old deserts are advancing and new deserts will arise. Heat waves and droughts are changing the face of the earth and the air you breathe, and you are contributing to the problem with relentless deforestation. Your atmosphere is based on an interchange of gases in which your forests are an integral part. You are burning fossil fuels and releasing toxic chemicals into the air at such a rate you are choking yourselves. You have polluted your land and water with so much toxic waste and garbage that you're killing your food supply and destroying the food chain on which your existence depends. There's no more room for all your garbage. The sea is sending it back to you, and so is the rain. If you keep it up, the planet will be uninhabitable for life as you know it in a relatively short time, regardless if you ever have a nuclear war. The cockroach will have the last laugh. You're causing all this by the way you live. You're excessively self-indulgent, self-centered, overconsumptive, wasteful, greedy. You don't give a damn about anything or anybody but yourselves. You're your own worst enemy. But just because you've always been that way doesn't mean you always will be that way. It's not in your genes, it's not written in concrete. It's in your distorted perceptions about the world and your place in it. You have the ability to change your perceptions by opening your minds to other possibilities. Just as in the drawing below, your perception will change depending on what you pay attention to. If you only see the vase, or you only see the profiles, it is like only seeing things one way, being narrow-minded. Can't see the forest for the trees. And so here is another way to look at this issue. Holes in the ozone layer may not be all bad on the planetary level. They may be a necessary occurrence to accelerate human consciousness. The negative effect is that increased radiation will age your physical forms more quickly and cause diseases to manifest that under normal radiation exposure wouldn't develop for 10, 20, 50 or more years. That may be the price humanity has to pay at this time in its evolution, or the exposure of radiation necessary to trigger the DNA to boost human brain power to reconnect with its divine source. Nuclear war will kill too many people and destroy too much progress. Nuclear testing in the atmosphere only reaches a few people. Medical technology and drugs are too non-specific. Spiritual studies take too long. But our life force comes through the sun, and only the radiation from the sun can provide the energy to boost humanity to Christ consciousness. So humanity had to pollute its environment sufficiently to affect the ozone layer to open itself up to increased radiation for a period of time, but would be protected from completely frying by the smog layer. No more than you unconsciously knew when to open up the ozone do you know how much is too much, or when to close it, or how long it will take. Too much of a good thing is not a good thing. All you have to do is look at the effects of pollution since the dawn of the Industrial Revolution almost 200 years ago to see how long it took you to open it up, to know that if you don't start reversing the process now, people may start spontaneously combusting all over the place. AIDS is certainly a warning sign. So are the polar ice caps breaking off in large chunks, and dolphins and whales throwing themselves on the beaches, sacrificing themselves to warn humankind. You're being warned to take action now, and many groups demanding planetary cleanup are having greater success exposing and prosecuting polluters. However long it takes you to rebuild the ozone layer will be the right amount of time and exposure necessary to bring about the evolutionary changes in humanity to raise it out of war and aggression and up to peace, prosperity, and freedom. All is in divine order. However we look at it, you are part of the ecological system of your planet. It can go on without you, but you cannot go on without it. It is your responsibility to be its caretakers. When you begin to perceive yourselves as loving beings who care about others as much as yourselves, who want everyone else to survive and enjoy living as much as you want that for yourselves, who want to share this earthly paradise with all life, who want everyone to have the opportunity to develop their potential and enjoy the abundance life has to offer, then you will begin to change the world, and order will arise out of chaos. Namaste.